Welcome back to Community Conversations. I'm your host, Steve Mantis, and my guest today is the Mayor of Thunder Bay, Keith Hobbs. Welcome back, Keith.
Thanks, Steve.
In the last portion of the show, we were talking about this balance between the provincial and the municipal government, and you were just talking about homelessness, and then oftentimes the municipality picks up the costs through policing and healthcare, some of the related healthcare services. And one of those challenges is our limited ability around taxation on the municipal level. Is there any progress being made on that? Is there other ways we can create revenue for the city?
Yeah, well, Steve, we've been really lobbying hard with the government. When you have all these downloads and more expenses as a municipality, we've been asking the provincial government for more revenue tools, because if we can up our revenues and bring in more money, that's less that we have to put on the taxpayers for sure. And we're seeing some progress on that. I'll give you an example. Unpaid fines. Since the 70s, we're owed about $35 million in unpaid fines. I could build my event center with that kind of money. No, I mean, seriously though, if we had that money, that's money left on the table that we had no way. So, we've been dealing with Minister Del Duca on that issue and, pushing him. And he's responded, and now that if you not have an unpaid fine, you won't be getting a license plate for your vehicle, which is a great tool for us now. And hopefully, since this is going to go back 7 years, they're going to back it up 7 years only, unfortunately. It'll be a bit. But in any event, it's still a good tool for us to hopefully collect those unpaid fines now. And even if it's a few $1,000,000, that could equate to a zero tax increase.
So when you talk about fines, right away I think parking tickets. What are we talking about here? What kind of fines?
Yeah, a Provincial Offence Act fines, speeding tickets, blowing a stop sign, you get a ticket and you don't pay it. And that's a lot of people are doing that.
And so there's limited ability for the city to actually go and collect those funds? Is that what's happening?
I mean, that's a provincial jurisdiction. The Highway Traffic Act is provincial legislation, and apart from bylaw fines, we can't collect those. We've had no way of collecting those. So in consultation with the government, they've come up with that avenue, and there's going to be more, we understand, and get these deadbeats to pay their way, pay their fines, and that's income for the city. That has been, like I say, $35 million has been left on the table since the 70s. That's a great one. We're looking at railway taxation. Railways pay the city of Thunder Bay $14,000 a year to traverse our right-of-ways. And
that's like one nice house in Thunder Bay pays that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. And when you see what's happening in Southern Ontario, if we were to compare ourselves to Southern Ontario, we'd get about $250,000 in those taxation fees. And out west, they're getting millions of dollars for it. So municipalities in Northwest, NOMA, Northern Ontario Municipal Association, Northwestern Ontario Municipal Association, City of Thunder Bay, again, are lobbying hard for that one. There's lots of tools, I think, that we can use that we're not using. I went a ride along with our MPAC people, and our permitting system, we're leaving money on the table. People get a permit for 1 year, or for, actually it's open-ended, to finish work on their homes, and we go and inspect them 3 years later, 4 years later. If we put those permits with a year timeline, we could get that revenue too. So there's lots of revenue streams that we can get that we're not getting, and that's another big push for us, for sure.
So with limited financial resources, you're always, not you, but the whole city has to make decisions and balance things. And the last time you were on, we talked about crime and crime prevention and things we can do to prevent crime from happening. You mentioned, drugs and homelessness. But the other thing I wonder about is some of the soft services that seem to fall down the list in terms of priorities, in terms of what the citizens ask for. I just learned recently back in the 70s, we had 100 people that would work in the summertime as playground supervisors. And now we're down to 25. And I go right away, oh my gosh, there's a big a big gain for not a lot of money, but we've lost some of that capacity to support youth in their development in the city. How do you deal with that? How do you figure out that kind of stuff?
Well, it's tough, and you know, I mean, the province don't have much money. They're in rough shape financially, and the feds aren't that much better off. So we have to do a lot of these things, and we have to cut a lot of things. I mean, our last city manager in his last few years cut about $6 million through efficiencies, and Norm Gaylor, our new city manager, has been tasked with the same thing, and he's been very successful. But we're very lean now. We're a lean city. You know, how do you fix that? Money. It's always about money. It's always about. But our recreation and facilities master plan that we just put out, I think, is a good roadmap. And we've done a lot of great planning as a city, and I think that's a lot of it. Work with what you've got. But that plan going forward is going to determine how we replace facilities. Do we need, can we compress things like the Niebing Arena, for example? I know Councillor Ridholm's not happy about the possibility of losing that ice surface, but there's a crunch right now for soccer, and that's huge for kids in this city, and keeping kids busy and active and healthy. And that goes with our strategic plan of a healthy, vibrant, connected community. We want our kids to be healthy and grow up. So perhaps we turn that into a soccerplex. And those are the kinds of things that we wrestle with all the time. Dease Pool, not popular. People are going to be angry at us if we do close it. But we'll put splash pads, you know, in place of that. So, you know, we have a big part of our strategic plan is youth. We're going to be centering on youth and making sure that they have lots of activities. We have a huge influx of Indigenous people from northern communities, and that recreation and, you know, facilities master plan talks about that too, our changing demographics, and how we keep these kids busy that are coming from northern communities and integrating into our city. So it's a work in progress all the time.
I mean, and certainly it does seem to, from my own experience, sports and recreation have been ways, and volunteering really have been ways where I've built that kind of social network, which is, you know, in my view, so important to success in our society, for getting a job, for, you know, supporting your family, all kinds of ways. It's that social network that is oftentimes key to being able to be active and engaged.
Yeah. If you look at the numbers of employees we had when I took over as mayor in 2000 and the end of 2010, and now we did close the homes, obviously the 2 homes for the aged, and we're probably down about 600 employees, city employees, from where we were. And people, you know, screamed about that. Well, we just, our last strategic plan and our last operational plan by our city manager is, it's going to be painful for some people, but that's where we're at right now, and we have to be responsible. However, if we get things going like the Ring of Fire, and that's a big one for me, it's been a pain in my butt. Since I've been mayor, we've been pushing the federal and provincial government to get the Ring of Fire going, at least get the infrastructure built up there, so that the mining companies can operate, and that's going to be huge for our economy, and it's so frustrating that it's just sitting there. And we're down to Noront Resources now. If they pull out, I think you can say goodbye to the Ring of Fire.
We're have to take another short break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.